Hi, I'm Kelly from newbornposing.com. This video we're talking all about creating marketing content for upcoming calendar events. I'm going to cover the who, what, why, where, when, all of that, so you've got lots of information to start planning, start creating a strategy so that you can get more content out there on your socials. Make sure that you are subscribed and you hit that little bell so that you can see all of my upcoming videos. One of the biggest questions that I see often in the group, and questions that I get asked in person, private messages, emails, you name it, how do I get more clients? And the thing is, at the moment we are going through, obviously, very, very different times in terms of getting clients into our studios. In some countries around the world, there are very strict restrictions around photographers working and, being in close vicinity of other people. So as we start to kind of come out of this, I don't want to say era, but this crazy 12 months, we've got to start planning towards how we can put our business in front of our clients and remind them that we're there, and possibly reach some new clients and let them know about the different services and promotions, I suppose, that you might be offering. But yeah, this is probably just something to give you an idea of what you could possibly create. And we all know I love to have fun crafting, and I've been building this set with Tracy for the last couple of days. It's been a lot of fun sourcing all the different things. So I'm going to go through a few sort of things about this particular setup, but I'm going to start first about why I've created a set purely for Easter. If you can see all my gorgeous little bunny rabbits there. But at the beginning of every single year, I create a marketing plan, and it's all about, how many clients do I need to get in to my studio? How many clients can I shoot? What sort of different things can I create in terms of promotional material? What calendar events do I want to, have sort of any mini sessions running, things like that. How can I put my brand out there? So I go through and I list every calendar event, and I use my social media planner to do this. You can find that on my website, and it is a brilliant tool, which is why we decided to share it with everyone else, because my business wouldn't be successful without creating a marketing plan, without having something to work off. And when you have a marketing plan, you're basically creating a strategy to get enough clients in the studio to make enough money. But if you don't have a marketing plan, if you don't do the work, you're not going to get the clients in the studio. And that's why I think a lot of people say, how do I get those clients? And it's purely because they're not really sure where to start. But if you don't have, I suppose, something like a social media planner or a marketing plan in place, you're not going to know where to start. So that's why we have it. That's why it is a really great resource in terms of getting organized, creating a strategy, and then having something that that you can start making plans to work towards every month, every second month, every quarter, whatever it is, every year within your business, so you know exactly what you've got to do and when you've got to do it. That's probably the most important part. So for me, like I said, I sit down and I get a calendar and I map out every calendar event that's coming up. There's different things like obviously Easter, you've got St. Pat's Day, you've got Halloween, Christmas, there's so many to mention. And obviously in different countries, they're going to be different sort of dates, especially around Mother's Day and Father's Day. I believe they're quite different to Australia and the UK and things like that. So this is not something that you can copy from what anyone else is doing. This is your plan. And you've got to be very, specific in terms of what it is that you want to offer within your business. So when you map out those different events, then you've got to start allocating time. And for Easter example, if I was to, I'm not creating this set to do mini sessions. I'm not going to bring lots of babies in and shoot them in front of the same backdrop. I'm shooting this purely for promotional reasons, to be able to put out there. If you were creating a set, say for say for Christmas, and you wanted to run mini shoots, then you'd start thinking about obviously the time frame that you would need to, number one, obviously start thinking about the type of set that you wanted to create. and then how long is it going to take you to build it, and then how long are you going to offer those mini sessions for? Like, is it going to be over a period of 2 days, over a period of 4 days, 5 days, whatever it might be? And then how long is it going to take you to deliver those photographs, those final photographs to your client in time for Christmas? So they're all the things that you really do need to consider when it comes to offering different mini sessions based on the different calendar events that you've got as options. But when I'm creating promotional content like that for marketing, I've got Easter coming up. So I want to get out there that I might be running, an Easter sale. So I've got to start planning probably 8 to 6 weeks ahead of Easter. And that's why that calendar is so important, because you know that Easter here is the Easter Sunday is the 4th of April. So I go back 6 to 8 weeks, and then I start mapping out, right, you need to start planning your Easter setup. What is it that you're going to create? So once you've got that timeline in place, and then as you're approaching, your Easter sort of period, for example, you'll start to think about how you want that set to look. But there's a few things that you've got to kind of focus on. And number one is that end result. Is it purely content for you to share across your social media platforms, on your website, or is it something that you're creating for promotional shoots, mini sessions, things like that? And again, they don't need to be a mini session. So I know it's a very common thing that people like to call them these days, but go back 10 years, go back 20 years, and they were just photography sessions, portrait sessions that may have had a theme leading up to Christmas. So you don't have to charge any differently to what you already charge, but it's probably something else that you do need to really consider there when you are offering a themed portrait session. Garrett's got that microphone.
I do. Good morning, everyone. Cheryl's got a question about those mini sessions. About how long do you think it should take to deliver a mini session?
Do that's something that you would have to put into a plan for a mini session. Like if you're going to offer a 30-minute shoot, and for example, you might offer 5 to 10 images as a result from that shoot in terms of variety, you would probably look at then dedicating, once you've finished, let's just say that you allocated 4 days to shoot, so you get all of those people who have booked in during those 4 days, and then after that you might have a day of pack down for your set, and then you might allocate 2 days of full editing of all of the images that you took. And you know what? It shouldn't take any more than 2 days. If your Photoshop skills are probably not so great, it might take you a little bit longer. If you're a little slower, if you're a little bit more particular, or if you offer something that's a little bit more fine arty, that's entirely up to you. But if you are, creating a beautiful set, you should have created something, with that end purpose in mind. How long is it going to take me to edit it? Do I need to, are you being lazy during the shoot and not, perfecting everything in that background and making it seamless so that you can speed up that editing workflow so you've got less to do? That's all going to be part of your plan in terms of how many days you're going to allocate to set up, how many days you're going to allocate to shooting, and then realistically, how long does it take you to edit a photo? If you've got 10 families coming in and you're going to offer them 10 photos each to choose from, then you should know how long it's going to take you to edit one photo and then multiply that so you can allocate a set period of time to get that editing done. But you work in your business, so set yourself some hours, be realistic, give yourself a lunch break. For me, I work 9 to 5, and even when I worked from home and I wasn't in my studio, I worked 9 to 5 because if I didn't structure my working hours, if I didn't dedicate time to all the different tasks that I have to do to be able to achieve and accomplish certain goals, then I wouldn't have reached, I suppose, a level that I would be satisfied with. And that's something that you've really got to be accountable for. When you sit down to edit, you edit. So you turn the internet off and you don't get sidetracked by social media, by emails, all of that stuff. Dedicate time during your day for emailing, dedicate time for editing, dedicate time for your social media pages, things like that. So it is really important that you are accountable for your time and how you dedicate it to the different parts.
There is actually a question here. I was going to go with another one, but then I decided not to. Marnie says here that she bought your calendar quite some time ago, and she was going to plan out every single month, and she was going to do it all.
And
that
you still
calendar's
haven't
now
used it.
3 years old.
You know, it's
Like
not too
that
late, Marnie.
whole eating the frog thing.
It's exactly right. And this is the thing. Only we as business owners can... No one can tell you what you should be doing, right? I am going to sit here and say, you've got to do it. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's actually got to determine, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What is it that you want to achieve? Now, depending on those goals, will depend on the amount of work that you actually put into getting it. And then how much do you want it? But we've also got to go easy on ourselves as well, and not, you know, I can see you've got the little emoji going, oh, I should have done it. But, you know, I don't know what's going on in your life, and you may have had different life events. You might have small children. So don't be too rough on yourself. You know, you've got to be realistic with your time and, you know, determine. So someone with, you know, 4 small children, for example, you know, might not be able to work full-time in their business. So having goals of working full-time in 12 months' time is really not that realistic. Like, you can't be everywhere at once. So you've got to be very honest with yourself and go, right, okay, my children will be, and this is what I did, they will all be at school in 2 years' time. So I gradually worked my way up over those 2 years to prepare myself so that when they were in school full-time, that I could, you know, step into my business on a full-time role. And that's how I basically did it. But you've got to have that goal, and then you've got to create that plan to work towards it in a very realistic way, and not be so hard on yourself. But you do have to do the work. But the social media planner is probably one of the best resources, because we're all on the socials, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, you name it. There's that many different social media platforms, and you've got to then decide on what you're going to share on what platform, as well as your website, to be able to put your business out there in front of potential clients, and to remind existing clients that you're still there and relevant, and that you're offering a new promotion, that you're offering something that might be a little different.
I've got a question here from Anita. Anita is new to newborns. She'll be travelling to client homes. She'll be taking model calls in March and April, and then starting to charge in May. So she sounds like she's got a bit of a plan.
That sounds like a good plan.
Any suggestions, though, for someone just starting out brand new in the industry? Like, how do you find those clients and that sort of thing? What are the, I suppose, key parts
and
to
we're actually,
marketing a new
I'm building
business?
to get to that right now, because when you are taking model calls and things like that, stepping into working with clients, it can be a big transition, and it can also be, you know, a little tricky finding those clients. But that's why model calls are so important. I still do model calls for things like this, because I want to be very specific. When my clients come in, I'm here to serve them. So I basically communicate what it is that they want, and I deliver to their expectations. But when I'm creating something purposely for me to promote and market my business with, then I'm going to get a model in because it's on my terms. Even though they're doing me a favor and I'm extremely appreciative for them, they've got to want to be a part of this just as much as, you know, I want them to be a part of it. So it's all about communicating with them. But, you know, sometimes, you know, you've got to invest in your business, and that could just be time. And the time that it took for me to spend doing this, the time that it took for me to, you know, think about how I was going to set this up, and then obviously the time that it's going to take to shoot it with the baby, and then the editing and so forth. So investing that time into your business for different calendar events is all about, you know, investing into your marketing plan. And when I say at the beginning of the year, you know, you've got to have a marketing plan, you've also got to have a marketing budget. And that could be spend, and that could be time, because time is money. So you've got to think about it in that sort of aspect. But yeah, getting models in and creating different sets like this, even if it's not a calendar event, if you just want to try something new and you've got an idea of what it is that you want to create, get a model in so you can share it. And regurgitate old content. I do all the time. I put old photographs up all the time, because the way that social media works is not everyone's going to see what you share every day. So sometimes people might follow your page religiously and they might see that you are sharing an old photo, that's okay. Remind them that that's still a beautiful photograph that you took a long time ago. But it is all about just putting content out there. When it comes to sharing, you've got to be active on your social media pages, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. You've got to be constantly sharing and engaging with the people that do communicate with your page. So that's why creating content like this, that might be a little different to what you normally create, actually you'll see a bigger level of engagement because it is different. People get bored with seeing the same content all the time. So you've got to start thinking when you're planning a set like this, how am I going to make people stop scrolling? But still keep it on sort of brand. So this is obviously all very similar color tones to what I would normally use during a shoot, but it is a little different. It's a bit much, it's a bit busy. I like to keep things simple, but even though it is a bit busy, there's still a level of simpleness to it. Oh, is that a word, simpleness?
Simplicity?
That's the one I'm looking for.
That one.
But anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the planning that's gone into this because, like I said, you've got to know what your end purpose is when you are creating creative content for different calendar events. So I obviously had a vision of what I want to use this for. I want to use it for Facebook banners. So I start thinking about the aspect ratio. There's another really great blog post on newbornposing.com. If you just go to the blog and then there's some subcategories underneath the blog title there, you'll see marketing. Click on that, you'll find it there. And Michelle, I have no doubt, will be sharing that. She does. But yeah, I wanted to think, okay, well, how can I create something that's actually going to give me a beautiful shape. It's going to look great with where I want to place it. But also I started thinking, okay, well, if I want to share it in stories, if I want to share it as a square post, I've got squares. I can take individual photos of each box that's sitting here. Down the bottom, there's a portrait style little bunny. We could photograph that for stories. This one here could be photographed for a square and put into Instagram. So you've got lots of options in terms of your end purpose of what you could create. The ideas are sort of endless of what you could do and achieve. But when it came to finding inspiration, in my back of my head, I sort of knew what I wanted, but I wasn't entirely sure where to start. So my go-to is Pinterest, and I started to look at window displays for big sort of beautiful shopping centers and things like that. And I looked at the way that they would layer different items within the window to build height and to create depth and to add sort of different elements. But I'm always very still focused on making sure that the baby is always going to be the main focus of the image. So my baby is in the foreground. So then I have to start thinking about how am I going to shoot this? How am I going to light it to draw the attention back to that main subject, but still allow you to, see the set and have your eye wander around the image. But my plan is to come in, photograph the baby from an angle here. There's not going to be a lot of distracting elements behind the baby's head, so that I can capture a close-up of the baby. I want to be able to get a full pullback to get the whole set. I want to come in and get all of the different elements and look at the different captures that I can get. But that's why I love shooting with a fake baby as well, because I can do that before I get a real baby in, so I've got an actual workflow created in the back of my mind or written down on a piece of paper of all the different shots that I want to get, how they're going to look, and whether or not it's working. I might come up for air because Garrett's got the microphone again.
You want to do that? You need to take a drink. I've got a couple of questions. I'm going to start with Sam. So Sam works in her office editing from 9 p.m. until 3 a.m. And then she's in the studio from 9:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. daily because of the kids. She'd love to do 9 to 5.
Sam, when do you sleep? I'm sorry, hang on, till 3 a.m.
Yeah. 3 a.m. and then she starts work again and shoots in the studio, of course, until 9:30.
So 9 to 5. For me to work 9 to 5, I dedicate X amount of sessions a year. Actually, this is actually brings me back to pricing, right? I have a certain amount of money that I need to earn every year to cover my cost of doing business and to cover my salary. This is all mapped out in my pricing calculator, and it is probably the most important tool outside of your camera and light to being a photographer. Because if you don't know how to price yourself, you won't be able to dedicate the right amount of hours, I suppose, into your day to run your business effectively and cost effectively. So before I even decide on how many clients that I can physically shoot, I've got to be really realistic with my time. So when I am working out my cost of doing business and my salary, I then, have that amount of money. I then divide it, let's rewind. I think about how many days of the week that I can physically shoot. I could, working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, shoot Monday to Friday, so that's 5 clients, and I only do 1 client a day. But I don't want to shoot 5 days a week, because then I don't have enough hours left in my week to dedicate to marketing, to dedicate to all of the, I suppose, admin roles and things like that I've got to do within my business. The editing side of things. Obviously, I know how long it takes me to edit an image. If I do 3 clients a week and I'm offering them 20 images each in a gallery, then I need to know how long is it going to take me to edit 20 photos per client, so I can dedicate those hours. So this is where you've got to be realistic, because for me to shoot 5 clients a week, that's not enough time to do everything else in my business. I also don't want to work 52 weeks of the year, so I allocate 42 weeks of the year so that I can have a week off to spend, focusing on creating new goals for the following year, or taking a week off with my kids during school holidays, things like that. You've got to be realistic with that time. So I know that I can do 3 clients a week, 42 weeks of the year. That's going to give me how many, 126 clients a year that I need to photograph? So I need to market and create content to get 126 clients in. So when I've got that amount of money, cost of business, salary, I divide that by 126, and that's how much I need to earn from every single session before I add on the cost of products, before I add on taxes and things like that. So when you are dedicating those hours, you're going to be working yourself into the ground if you are not focused on what you need to earn financially from each client, if you aren't realistic in terms of how many you can physically service. And when you work yourself into the ground like that, your level of customer service is going to diminish. Your value of your time will fall. You will be cranky. You will fall out of love with photography. And I say this because I've been there. And I spent 3 years with my back to my kids saying, I'm nearly done, I'm nearly done. I put on 30 kilos and I fell out of love with photography. The one thing that, I spent all of my time doing, I didn't love it anymore. So it's not just one thing that I'm going to tell you how to structure your time better, it's everything. And that's why creating a goal, having a plan and working towards it every single year is your key to success, and the level of success that you want, no one else. And you should never be comparing your business to anyone else's, because we all have different things going on in our life that prevent us from, being that driven 9 to 5 hustler, that some people are. I am a bit of a workaholic, but you've got to do what you've got to do to achieve those results.
What are your thoughts on mini sessions, Kelly Brown?
I don't do them.
And if you did, how could you ever stick to 30 minutes for a session?
Yeah,
I suppose that's the other thing.
That's the thing. So I'm a service provider. I create an experience for my clients, and I'm not saying that you cannot create an experience with a mini session, but for me, it is all about client communication and having them walk away from here having experienced something really quite beautiful. So it's not within my business plan to actually offer a mini session, but I know that they can be very successful for some photographers. But it depends on their personality, it depends on how they like to operate, it depends on all the different things that, draw them to doing that. So don't do them because everyone else does them. Do them because they work for you. They work for your business mold. And unfortunately, I throughout the 17 years that I've been doing this, I have become a high-end photographer. So my customers deserve a high-end level of service and product, and I can't do that in 30 minutes. That's not what an experience for me is. So I'm very much focused on that client experience, and which is what I, aim to do and provide.
I've got something for you here.
Okay.
And I think it's a good one for the whole marketing aspect because not everyone's in big towns. Lindy, advice for someone who lives in a small country town that is flooded with amateur photographers.
Yeah, do you know what? A lot of photographers over the years, find it very challenging to basically compete. And the thing is, you're not competing. If they're an amateur photographer, and you've got the experience and you've been doing this for a long time, they're not your competition. You just have to focus on you, put your blinkers on, mind your own business, and continually share what you love and with passion, and show the people that are out there that are potential clients or your existing clients what it is that you provide in terms of a product and service. Because I can tell you now, if they try an amateur photographer who doesn't deliver to their expectations, they're going to contact you anyway. I've been contacted by clients so many times over the years because they have gone elsewhere. They've gone to other people and they just haven't been satisfied. So you have to separate yourself from everyone else by focusing on what it is that you love about being a photographer, the style of work that you produce, the level of work that you produce, and that level of customer service. People want value, but they also want, they want to be heard. They want communication. They want things to be easy, and you have to do that with a very high professional level. And it doesn't matter whether you're in a small town or a large town, because I can tell you now, even being in a big town, and I come from a small town, being in a big town, there are, the ratio to, one professional photographer to 10 amateur photographers is still the same. So you just have to show them why your service is better. What is it that they're getting?
Yeah, you almost show them what they're missing out on. Yeah.
Be present. Stop spending your time looking at what everyone else is doing, and focus on you and your business and your clients, because that's all that matters.
Anita thanks you for answering her question earlier, but would also like to know a Facebook page or a Facebook group or both? You're running a business...
What? Try both. But you need a website first and foremost. Your website is a place where you share everything. A Facebook page is a place where people go and scroll and then try to navigate their way around. And don't assume that everyone that follows your page is going to see everything that you share. The Facebook and Instagram will show your content to a very small percentage, and I'm talking 7% of your followers. If that 7% of followers engage with your content, if they interact with their content, then they're going to open up what you've shared to the rest of your followers. They only do that based on your level of engagement. So, when you're constantly sharing the same thing over and over again, the algorithms become very familiar with that. So that's why you've got to start thinking very creatively about the content that you're going to share and get it out there in front of as many people as you possibly can. But also, when it comes to Facebook pages, other photographers aren't your audience. It's about quality, not quantity. Don't worry about the number of followers or likes you have. It is about getting the right people to follow your page, so that you can put your business in front of them. When I go to a lot of photographers' pages, I will look at their last few posts and I'll see that they have other photographers liking and can sort of interacting with those posts. So don't follow other photographers' pages. My advice to you over the weekend is go through all of the pages that you like and unlike other photographers. If you want to go and look at something, go to Pinterest, go to Instagram. But don't fill your newsfeed with what every other photographer is doing, because it gets into the back of your mind. They're doing this, they're doing that, or why am I not doing that? And then self-doubt comes in, and then you're confused, then you're distracted, then you've lost time and focus, and you're back to square one. So it's really important to focus, like I keep saying over and over again, you and your business, put those blinkers on. Do we want to talk about this? Or you got more questions?
It's really good.
I have talked a little bit about this. Okay, so rewind. I was really sort of inspired by shop displays, window displays, and that's why I wanted to create something like this. For me, you know, I love Easter. I found these beautiful little bunnies. What I did was set myself a budget. So I've actually spent $100. That's it. I have a $100 budget, Australian dollars. And I think all of my bunnies and all the little eggs and things like that, they cost me about $70, and then I spent the other $30 just on a bag of moss, some carrots, a cabbage, and all the other elements I had here in the studio. So I'm always trying to think about how I can make do with things I've already got. What can I use, and then what can I add to it, so that I'm working with something fresh all the time and creating new content to share. So that's why I do set myself a budget, because, you know, it's nice to create something a little bit different every year and not use the same things over and over again, because then you get bored. But yeah, I'm planning on, like I said, photographing this from lots of different angles. I will spend a certain amount of time shooting this, and then when I'm shooting it, I'll look at the back of my camera and I'll go, okay, I'm really distracted by, you know, possibly those little eggs there off onto the right, my left, your right side of the baby. So I might remove those if they are distracting, but that's what it's all about. How I'll use light, how I will pose the baby, obviously, and then how I'll, you know, remove some of the different elements within the set. And when we were putting this together, I think we've moved every element about 3 times. You put things in one spot and then you step back. And it's really important that you do allow yourself time to create something like this, because you can look at something for too long and start to sort of not see things. So walk away, get a drink, come back, leave it overnight, come back and have another look. Now, I had every intention of shooting this afternoon, but unfortunately I have a giant cold sore on my face. So I won't be having a baby in my studio anytime soon while I have that, purely, you know, for their safety and germs. But I've put real carrots and a cabbage in here. Now I know I've got to go and spend another $10 to replace them when I'm ready to shoot this set. So that's sort of something else to keep in mind as well. Your time frame in terms of if you're using live flowers and, you know, vegetables and things like that, how long are they going to last for? I did actually have some fake carrots, but they were a bit too bright, and that it just didn't have that organic feel that I really love. So you do have to plan it out, create a list of all the different things, and come into your studio, pull out everything, start building it, and then look at it and go, okay, well, I need something here, I need something there. And then go and look in shops or have a look online and see what it is that you could use. But the little bunnies, they were perfect because they allowed me to sort of spread them out, and they're all different. They're not the same, so I don't have that repetition throughout the set.
Can you talk a bit more again? I know you covered it earlier about your whole planning process. Like when it comes to putting together a big set like this, you obviously, you know, I know that Easter's coming up. Are you thinking about what it is that you're doing before you go shopping or while you're at the shops? Or
okay,
what's that whole process?
Let's break it down.
Yeah.
I've already got my calendar mapped out for the year. Like Garrett said, Easter's coming up. We're about a month out from Easter, I believe now. So about sort of 8 weeks out from Easter, I'll start thinking about all the different things that I could possibly create for my Easter set. And then I'll think a little bit about, you know, the design. I'll start to draw it on a piece of paper. I'm a bit of a visual person. I know not everyone likes to, but I'll sort of draw it out and go, right, what's my end purpose here? Am I using the content that I'm going to create for social media? Am I using it for my website? Am I using it for banners on Facebook, banners on my website? What are the size of those banners? Do they need to be horizontal, portrait? Do they need to be square? So I'll start to build my set on paper to fit where I want that content to go. How am I sharing it? What is it, you know, what is the purpose of that content? So I just want to promote something really pretty. You might want to promote a product, for example. But yeah, you might be doing mini sessions and things like that, so you might get a model in once you've built your set to shoot that. You might have done them in the previous year, and so on. So you're always thinking in the back of your mind, what is it that I'm going to create? But 8 weeks out, that's where I start to go to Pinterest. That's where I start to plan and dedicate a budget purely for that as well. But I'm not finished yet. Hang on, we're breaking it down. Okay. So we've got that end goal, that purpose of the shoot, we've got the design phase, and then we've got the sharing phase. So once you do start to put that content out there, you do have to think, what are you using that marketing material for? Is it to promote a discount? Is it to promote a themed shoot, like a mini session, and then allow enough time, like I said before. If you missed the area where I was talking about mini sessions, you're going to have to go back, because I'm not repeating it, and rewatch it. This will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, but it's, allocating enough time to the shooting stage, and then to the editing stage, and then to the delivery stage, so that you can deliver on time to your clients' expectations. But yeah, it is all about, thinking, how are you going to keep it on brand? What sort of colors and tones are going to, attract a viewer? And then sort of putting it together and dedicating the time to putting it together in terms of the construct stage, and then the shooting stage. But yeah, that's kind of the process that I go through. But leading up to any calendar event, you should have alerts in your calendar as to when things are coming. Someone said, leave the eggs alone. They are super cute, right? They're cardboard.
Okay. Pricing on your socials. Is it a thing that you do? Like putting your pricing publicly?
Well, if you're running a promotion, like a shoot for a short period of time, you could add pricing to that. But for me, I like to communicate and talk with my clients. So when I'm adding sort of content to social media, if it's for a promotional shoot, I encourage them to contact me to discuss, the different options that are available, because I always offer different options. I don't always just offer, it's a one price for a set period of time. It is always going to be, well, there's this, but let me entice you into this type of scenario. But yeah, we got any more questions?
Yeah.
I've been talking a lot.
One's just come through. When you promote your sessions, do you put all the info on the ads, etc.? Time, price, what they'll receive, like all of that sort of stuff. So I suppose it's going on from what you just mentioned.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If you're promoting a session, if it's just a normal session every day, then people like to know what they're in for. So I probably wouldn't put a price there. But what I would say is, and make it very friendly in terms of the way that you write that information. Your session will take place in my, Sumner studio. Going from however many hours, I like to leave enough time for lots of cuddles and feeding with the baby. So we plan to allocate 2 hours for the session, so forth, and write it in a way that it gets people excited. To look forward to what it is that you're doing. Write it in a way that explains that quality of experience that you're going to provide for your clients, because whilst I'm providing photographs that, yes, last a lifetime, they're timeless, I'm creating an experience that they're going to remember. And the experience is what's going to have them tell all their friends and family about me. And that word of mouth marketing, whilst we're talking about creating creative content, word of mouth is king. It always has been, and it always will be. But today, word of mouth is not just a conversation that you have with someone that you might bump into at the shops or might have a phone call with. It's social media. So I can guarantee you that when someone has a great experience, they're going to share that experience on social media. But if they have a bad experience, they're also going to share that too. So be careful.
Sorry. Hello. Thank you. Good morning. Is it still morning? Yeah. Can you just clarify for people on that? Because I know it was a broad question, but I know a lot of people in the group, when they share graphics they've created for things like model calls and they're asking for feedback, one of the biggest mistakes is that people put all that information into the text. Do you want to talk about the 20% rule?
Yes.
Things like that?
So if you're creating content for social media marketing, really good point. When you pay to promote anything that you create and share on your social media pages, Facebook don't like it if you've got too much text in your graphic. So try to put that text into the post itself and write it in a way that's, and don't put in a big blurb. I mean, you've got long text, you've got short text. Some work for different things, but it really does depend, and that's a whole other 42 minutes. So think about those graphics, because the photograph or the video, whatever it is that you're sharing, needs to stop people from scrolling. And if there is too much text on there and it has to be less than 20% of the graphic, Facebook will, what's the word I'm looking for? Penalize you in terms of paid promotion. So try to keep those graphics as simple as possible. Go to my Facebook page, have a look at some of the things that we share, and you'll see the very little text within that graphic. And you know what, have a look on the newbornposing.com website. Like I said, there are heaps of blog posts that really do help with things like that in terms of what to share. If you go to the blog, there's a what to share on social media blog post. There's also preparing your model calls for best results blog post. That there's going to give you a lot of information, and it's going to really help you, create more engaging content so that people interact with it. And then have a look at all of the templates in newbornposing.com, because there's lots of templates there, and they're all designed with that in mind in terms of the graphics and the text.
When it comes to posting, how often should they post? Like, is there a limit of too much? Is
you guys
there
are
not
getting
enough?
a lot of information out of me today. I must be in a good mood. No, you need to engage on your page.
Yeah.
If you're posting once a week, Facebook really don't think that you're of interest to anyone, so they won't show your content to anyone. And it goes the same with Instagram. You really do need to be sharing on a regular basis. Once a day, twice a day is enough. More is obviously going to be better, but you don't also want to just be sharing stuff that's not relevant to your target market. So in the social media planner, you're going to find information on how you can, create that avatar of who your client is. Who your best target market is, their age, all of the demographics, all of those things that you've got to take into consideration when creating content. Who are you? What's that end purpose that we keep talking about? Where are you using it? What's it for? Who is it for? Is going to be really valuable. But when you are sharing, that content on your socials, you don't just put stuff out there. It's got to be of interest. So I did a video actually during lockdown here, our first lockdown, I think it was May last year. I can't remember. You'll find all of those videos on my YouTube channel. So just look up Kelly Brown on YouTube, and you'll find videos that I did where I actually went through all the different types of content that you can share when you're running out of content to share, like other people's blog posts, things like that. But make sure that you've done your research and you know exactly who you're trying to engage with on social media, because it's not just about posting every couple of hours. It's about who it is that you're trying to engage with and what is going to be of interest to them.
Well, I think we've run out of questions.
Are we good?
We have. I think everyone's got a lot of information today, and there's so much.
What are some?
so
Hang on,
much
there's one there
information.
from Jules. What are some good resources? For writing content for portrait clients?
Oh yes.
Portrait clients. I'm a portrait photographer. I photograph babies. I would treat my portrait clients exactly the same way when I'm writing content. I'm a portrait photographer. I take portraits of small people, old people, big people, medium-sized people, all types of people I take portraits of. So when I'm trying to engage with them, you just need to know what is it that you provide in terms of a product and service and write about it. You'll find what to expect guide on my website as well. That has got lots of information in terms of writing about that, and I'm sure Michelle's going to share some links as well. But when it comes to engaging with portrait clients, think about what is it that you're doing. Are you doing a corporate headshot? Are you doing a branding shoot? Get a model, go and hire an Airbnb, a beautiful place, get some amazing shots and create content for branding. If you want to increase the amount of headshots that you do, get your mum in, get your dad in, take a headshot of them, promote it. You've got so many options. And the thing is, marketing is all about being creative, not just like this, but creative with the ideas, creative with the ways that you come about creating the content. Who can you use? Who can you photograph? What friends, family can you get in to be models for you to create that content, to continually get it out there so that you can get clients in? And this is the thing, we right now are coming out of a phase where we haven't been shooting. You know, we're coming back, I believe we will be coming back, and you know, getting clients in our studio is what's going to, you know, be our priority right now. So you've got to do the work now to start building that client base, to start getting that word of mouth out there, because it used to be 7 times that you would have to put your brand in front of a potential client before they would actually react. Now I can tell you, because we're on social media all the time and we've become so conditioned to what we see, it's now over 20. I believe it's like 21 times that you've got to put your brand in front of someone before they will actually engage and react. So don't think that you're bothering people. Get your damn business out there so that people can see it and remind them of how amazing you are.
On the whole reminding people how good you are, word of mouth and getting your clients to do reviews, is that something that you would normally do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ask them. You know, a lot of people don't like their clients also bringing their phones with their cameras into the studio when they're shooting. I encourage it. I actually have my Wi-Fi password up there, and I always tell them to tag me. It even has my Instagram handle on it, because when they're tagging me, that's engagement on social media. And if they're taking behind the scenes photos, I mean, I can guarantee that my photos are going to be better than theirs anyway. But don't stop people from potentially marketing for you, because it's like when you have babies, you tend to surround yourself with people who are having babies. You tend to connect with people who are going through similar stages of life and have similar interests. When you're getting married, you know lots of people getting married. When you're getting divorced, you know lots of people getting divorced. It's just how it is. So remember that those people sitting in your studio are so in love right now with their baby. They want to document every single stage, and we have a camera, not just a phone, in our hands at all times, and they want to share it with the world. So don't stop them from potentially marketing for you and letting people know who's taking their photos. I think I'm done. It's 50 minutes, guys. I planned on 30.
A little bit over time. Got a lot to do today. You've still got to shoot this yet. But
with my fake baby.
With the fake baby so far. We've had lots of people on there today, and it's been really, really good. There are a few more questions there, but this will be available on the YouTube channel afterwards.
Yeah, come back, rewatch it, because it's, you know, I covered a fair bit, you know, in terms of how to plan and things like that. But go to the blog. There's so much more information, and it is incredibly valuable. But that social media planner and pricing calculator, good Lord, that could change your business. So I'm going to go on that note. I'll say goodbye. It's Thursday, so have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll see you back here next Thursday for another live. I'm not sure what we're going to do next Thursday, but if you've got any ideas, make sure you tag me in a post and share it in the group, and that way I can know what you guys want to know. I don't know. I'll talk about anything. We know that. Bye.
We know that.